Hello and welcome to the latest from Hearts Standard. My name is Joel Sked and I'm delighted to be joined by Craig Cairns. How's it going, Jay? How's it going, Craig? Jesus.
Old habits.
Yeah, very, very old habits, yep.
That's the first time you've done that, though. That's weird that that's coming up now. I am doing very well, Joel. How are you doing yourself?
Yes, good. And it's because I was looking at emails and I still get James's holiday request. So that's that's why I was bringing up the script. So then I saw his name and I just fell back into, like you said, old habits. But yeah, other than that, all good. Much to say? No, we're just here to chat about Hearts' 3-2 defeat to Aberdeen on when was that? Sunday. Yes. So we obviously did the wee video afterwards. It was just like 8, 9, 10 minutes, and it was just your reaction after full time. And we're going to go a bit more in depth. I've watched the game back. We've had time to reflect on it. But before we do, I will of course bring a message from our sponsor, who are Good Vibes Giveaways, are proud to sponsor Heart Standard and offer fantastic prizes to fans of the club. Prizes change weekly and include tech, gadgets, days out, weekends away, tax-free cash, and even OASIS tickets, if there are still some kicking about. Get your tickets now at www.goodvibesgiveaways.com and enter for your chance to spread the good vibes, sunglasses emoji. Now, Craig, we have had time to stew and think and play the game over in my head. And I know I've spoken to a couple of folk, and a couple of folk feel the same way. Listen to Scarfs Around the Funnel and this afternoon, and they mentioned it as well. It was a defeat that stung quite a bit, just because I think we were the better team. I think, again, I'm not going to say deserved to win, because you deserve. You kind of deserve what you get, but played well enough to win the game, and we came away empty-handed, which was hugely frustrating. How do you feel kind of 2 days on?
Yeah, I mean, largely the same, I would say. It is just such a difficult one to take, that, okay, with the 10 men, it was always going to be difficult, and as we kind of entered those later stages, it became more of an exercise in us repelling what Aberdeen had. But it's a tough one to take, not just because of the performance, but just because of where we are. And I mean, I don't know if anybody really, ourselves and a lot of Hearts fans included, really gave us a chance going up there. But to play so well, to see that Aberdeen really weren't that great on the day. I mean, there were aspects to their game that were brilliant. Let's not downplay what they did on the day too much. I think for any team, even against 10 men, to come from behind and take all 3 points that late, it does show that they've got something about them. But yeah, from a Hearts perspective, it's just another in a long line of blows, isn't it?
That was your mute. It's a blow, and I agree. I think it's kind of like just a different blow, because we've been used to discussing the same things after losses that didn't play well, were quite passive. It started well, and then there was an inevitability about it. Struggled to create chances and never really looked like winning in the end. Whereas this was completely different. We did play well either side for the goal after 2 minutes that Aberdeen scored, and we actually created chances. You look at it, we kind of talked a lot about expected goals and just how they show the quality of chances that the team have created. Hearts have not created enough quality chances this season, whereas in the last 2 league games, Ross County and Aberdeen created more than enough chances to win games. And I just feel that the similarity, though, is the proclivity to shoot herself in the foot. If there was a expected shoot in the foot graph or stat, we would very much be top of that, both in terms of expected and doing so, because you look at some of the goals we gave away. First goal was really cheap. Second goal was just kind of out of nothing. Just completely out of nothing. Really good. I mean, a really good finish from Nicky Devlin. But you give him that chance another 100 times. I'm not sure he finds the back of the net more than a couple of times, and then lose 3-2 in part to kind of stupidity from George Grant making a challenge that he really, really didn't have to. So yeah, and then just bringing a couple of comments in here. Graham says, best performance of the season by far, but not clinical when it mattered, and the sending off changes the game. Stupidity from Grant to dive in on a booking. 20 goals conceded is a huge concern. I really enjoyed watching the game up in Aberdeen. The Hearts fans were brilliant and 2 great celebrations. I thought the team played well overall. And yeah, that was kind of the feeling we got, because it was actually, for one of the first times this season, for the first time since this opening game of the season, I think it was actually enjoyable Hearts performance, and it was there were elements of the game which we'll come on to and we'll kind of show that the team played some really good stuff both in and out of possession.
Yeah, we certainly didn't look like a team that was bottom of the league during that game. It was a cracking game for the neutral, I would imagine. But I mean, I keep coming away from games thinking that I'm seeing enough there that it's going to turn. And if we play like we have, or create the chances that we have in the last 2 matches, we will hopefully start to score goals. At the other end, yeah, the amount of goals that we are conceding is a big concern, and is the reason one of the big reasons we're on this run. But there was still a real element of bad luck to that opening goal. Okay, there's mistakes in there. We allow Keskinen to have a free shot there in the first place, but the way that it just hits off the defender and can go anywhere, and that happens to loop out of the reach of the goalkeeper when the goalkeeper was going to save it, there's a real element of bad luck to that. And I mean, you've watched the whole half back. I don't remember Gordon making a save of note again in that half. And I said it briefly after the game, but I think where we are, that at least shows some mentality that we went on to pretty much dominate that half. There were moments outside and at the edge of our box where we looked a bit shaky, or they got into positions, but we ultimately stopped it all, and we were the one creating chances. I didn't fully appreciate all the chances we created in the first half until I watched the highlights. The Shankland one at the back post. There's a fair few in there, and I think the Nicky Devlin one that you mentioned as well. Sorry, there was just a few things that I wanted to pick up on, and the things that you went through there. The way he takes it, you can see how awkward that is, that he has to. And you're right, that's another one that is just play that out 10 times. How many times does he actually score it? And then to add to the shooting in the foot thing, you talk about Grant, you can talk about goals we conceded, but Vargas, that's as sinful as any of the other ones that you've listed there, if not the worst on the day, because there are other options there. If you try to put it other side of the keeper and it's a fantastic save, then okay, you can still be partly blamed there, or comes back off the post, or like the best options maybe to roll it. I'm sure Shanklin was letting him know he was there. I think he's picked possibly the most difficult finish. I know if he gets it right, it's the one that the goalkeeper can't save, but the form that he's in and the form that we're in, we need to be taking the higher percentage options in those situations. I know it's easier to say that in the cold light of day than when it's a split-second decision on the park, but he's got a few seconds to think about it. And yeah, I mean, he's not scored a goal yet this season.
Yeah. On Vargas is that I think that's been the biggest frustration, is the fact that he's not kind of kicked on, having just his season last season was just like it started well. He's in terms of his attitude and his application, kind of how he fit, and then it just went up and up and up, and he was being more productive. He nearly scored 10 goals in the end, and they were just hoping, right, this was now the season to kick on. And he's not really done it. I thought he started the season quite well, but again, it was almost like going back to the start of last season where he gave us loads of energy, gave us loads of pace, but lacked that productivity. And now you're not getting either of those. It's you're getting the kind of hard working forward, where we need more from. I want him to take that chance. I want, like, when people are talking about laying it to Shankland, your forwards running through and goal one-on-one with the keeper, just take the chance, but do it in a manner in which you're going to score the goal. So it was that was certainly one of the most agonising, frustrating moments of the game. Like, kind of flipping back to the positive aspects of it, and I think Grant McLean asked this: is the performance due to a settled formation and players playing in their favoured positions? We've seen over the last three games, Hearts have set up in the 4-3-3 system. You've got one number 6, two number 8s, and then you've got two wide players supporting Shankland, and we're playing with inverted fullbacks as well, which will kind of come on to show on how it works. But do you agree with that it's probably helped that having a settled formation has given the players clarity? I think Kenneth Blair-Spittle suggested that after the game, and within having a settled formation, it's made rotation within that easier.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to kick off with there. Blair-Spittle said pretty much exactly that. It'd been interesting to know exactly what he meant by simplified. Maybe follow that up the next time we speak to him. I don't know. I suppose we spoke to him twice in quick succession, so maybe it'll be a wee while. It'll be deep into the new manager by the time we speak to him potentially again. So, but it was interesting that one of the things he said that he simplified things. I wonder if it does just mean the fact that he's picked a shape and he's sticking with it, because we are still doing some. I mean, I don't think you would necessarily put inverted fullbacks in Scotland anyway in the simplified box, would you? I mean, that's quite a sort of modern tactical innovation. It's not something that you see in Scotland all too often. So he may have simplified it in the sense that, yes, he's keeping with the same shape, he's sticking with what he knows, he's having players playing in natural positions as best he can. But yeah, I mean, whatever it is, it's improved the performances. We still are needing to get more results. A win to begin with.
Yeah.
And one of the other things I'd say about the way Fox plays, it is quite high risk. He wants to attack, and it's difficult. It's difficult to devise an attacking formation that's defensively sound also.
Yeah, that's something that takes a lot of time and effort on the training ground, and it doesn't happen overnight, and it's one of those where you have to, in the short term, probably sacrifice one for the other, and then it just comes with kind of evolution and more time working together, etc. So I'll bring up some screenshots now, and we can kind of talk through them. So apologies if you're listening on the podcast, but we'll try and explain it as best as we can so it's clear for those just listening. But I'll bring up the pass network because it's something that we show quite often on. It's good. It's fine. It's something we use quite often on StatsBomb, or the kind of data partner. You kind of wanted to talk about this, Craig, where we see so it's like average positions / average positions for where players pass from, and this is the starting 11 of the game on Sunday against Aberdeen, and you can see elements within it where you've got a clear defined back four. Malachi Boateng sitting at the base of midfield, Spittle and Grant. Spittle's more advanced with Fargas and Danda wide, and Shankland looking isolated in as number 9. So I should clarify for those seeing this picture is that it's a wee bit skewed because Stephen Kingsley goes off early, and so you've not got pen race. But if I was to click on the first half or the second half, it brings in everyone who played, and it just gets a wee bit messy. But what you kind of wanted to talk through the aspects of that?
Yeah, but I just wanted to explain what people are looking at first. I'm sure this will be very, very simple stuff for people, but it's just for people because some of these things can be slightly overwhelming when you first look at them. So the positions of where the players are the average position of where they've played their passes from, basically. And then the circle, the bigger the circle, the more passes they've played. The thicker the lines between players is the more passes that have been played between those players. And then the last thing's the colour. That's the most sort of technical part of it, I would say. It's on-ball value. That's it gets called different things, like I think possession values and the name for it. I think it's basically different companies have got different models. I think StatsMom have got a blog explaining this if you want to see it more in depth. But it's just... in a nutshell, it's to do with your actions or what sort of value your actions have within the game. How often it's like a mix of how often they lead to like a chance or a concession of a chance or like things. It's all the companies all do it different ways and things like that. As I say, I am struggling to explain it just simply because it's not something that it's something that I just kind of get the gist of, but I don't know it kind of fully. And when I look at these things, I mean, it's kind of decent to get a glance of the on-ball value. I mean, the two players that stand out here, I mean, Shanklin, you said he looks isolated in terms of passing. That's correct, but his on-ball value is quite high. Him and Spittle are the two that stand out. Danda a little bit as well, and Riles, but part of that might be the free header he had. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But that's basically what we're looking at, and we can see. Mike, well, what did you see? What did you want to point out that was kind of interesting from it?
So there's a few. So in terms of the collective of the performance, I'll remove this and I'll get rid of it. In terms of the collective of the performance was in and out possession. Out of possession, we saw straight from the off that just how aggressive Hearts were going to be out of possession, and you kind of thought going into it that seeing the starting 11, seeing that basically got two centre backs as full backs, that I thought Hearts would just be quite narrow, compact, and probably be a bit standoffish just with the travel and having played on Thursday. But they were completely, they were nothing like that from the kickoff. Aberdeen had to be forced back to meet off to kick long, and you can see here this was in the first kind of 15 seconds. We got Danda, Spittle, Grant, Shanklin and Vargas all pushed really high, and the Hearts did try as much as possible to kind of work on basically at times going man to man and just putting a lot of pressure on Aberdeen to play out, and it kind of forced them to go long over the piece. It worked really well.
Yeah, I think it was a really interesting part of the game because I think, as you pointed out, during the game, Aberdeen were looking, as much as we were looking to rob the ball off them, and we did it a number of times in the first half, in their own half. We did it in their box just after the opening goal.
Yeah, Shanklin had the chance.
Yeah, Shanklin's chance, which at the time I thought it was like, I mean, it was a poor effort, but I mean, you've got to appreciate he's got to take that as quickly as possible because he's getting closed down really, really quickly. Should still do better, I think, though. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I thought that was a really interesting part. They were trying to tease us into areas and then go direct quickly. And there were times when we were winning the ball off them. There were times where Mitov was finding McGrath in the centre circle, or there was times they were finding Kiskinen and making a run down the wing or whatever. And I found that really interesting part of this, certainly how the first half panned out anyway. And I thought we got a lot of success from it. That's another sort of high risk strategy, isn't it? When you have that many players up the pitch, attacking players up the pitch, pressing them at the edge of their own box, like this picture that we're looking at, the defenders inevitably have to come higher up as well, because otherwise you're just leaving tons and tons of space in between the lines of your team. So it's a high, especially we saw how good, as I've just mentioned as well, Aberdeen can be on the break and can be when they go direct against you and get the ball to their forwards quickly. So yeah, it was a gamble, but in the end, we're talking about a game where we've conceded 3 goals still, haven't we? I know there's nuances to that, but we've still ultimately conceded another 3 goals.
So, but I thought we looked a lot better in out of possession. We have done a lot of times in open play this season, where it's at times I've just felt Hearts looked really, really vulnerable. And there was a few months you alluded to earlier, you just mentioned it earlier, where there was a time where Frankie Kent and both Kai Rolls, they had to make kind of key interventions, interceptions, kind of last ditch. But that's the nature of how Hearts set up. That's if you're going to press a team high up the park, that you're going to be exposed in those instances, and you're relying on your defenders to defend one-on-one. I would say that in the build-up, so Kingsley, what you can see by Kingsley's reaction when the goal goes in, the opening goal for Aberdeen, needs to be a reaction that he's made a mistake, perhaps 2 within like 10 seconds. But I would say that a part of that is further up the pitch as well. And like Spittle was brilliant, really, really good. But in this instance, he's probably over-eager pressing, because this is where this is just in the build-up to the first goal. We can see that Rubezic has the ball, and Spittle really should just sit on Shinnie and allow Shanklin to go across and close him. Spittle, I think, gets just over-eager, just wanted to set the tone and close down, and he goes close down, and it just allows Aberdeen to play triangle around, and it gets them free. So it's probably one of the only occasions where Hearts kind of press and really kind of faltered. And other times, I think Aberdeen just played, did really, really well to beat it. For example, Jack McKenzie's flick. There's a couple of times Jamie McGran, Clarkson played 1-2s, and that's what you have to be really confident and really good to do that when a team presses you. But overall, I thought it was a much more cohesive, out of possession kind of shape, and mentality, and the intensity was there, which Hearts fans want to see from the team out of possession. In possession, I thought it was probably the best seen Hearts with like a clear plan, clear strategy. We had I'll bring up an image here where it's basically Frankie Kent on the halfway line playing out to Vargas. Vargas is out of shot. That's because the wingers have been asked to play on the wing. So stretch the game, make it as wide as possible, and then it opens up the space for the fullbacks to come in. In this instance, we can see that Oyegoki's making a run centrally and beyond. He's going beyond Grant, he's going beyond Danda, and then Vargas gets it. So this ends up leading to the other side and this is another positive to the performance, the link up between Spittle and Danda. Danda had actually moved infield, which meant Spittle's like, right, the space is out on the far side. I need to keep some width there. So he moves out there. Kingsley's central, and it leads to Spittle crossing the ball and Shanklin steering the ball over. And I will remove this one and add this. And it kind of this one a wee bit later on just sums up the intent from Hearts. And I think that's an attacking intent that's probably been missing at times, and an urgency to get forward. We can see here in the final third, we have got everyone but Kent, Rolls and Craig Gordon. So there is Shanklin's in the box, Grant's in the box, Penrice is on the edge of the box crossing, Vargas, Danda and Spittle are running into the box, and then they're being backed up by Oyegoki and Boateng. So yeah, I just thought there was much more attacking purpose and to the performance just in general from Hearts, in and out of possession. And again, you have to go back to just noting that we did lose a game and we're still not won a game in the league. But I think it's kind of the first time since the opening game of the season where I just came away from the game having been impressed with our performance, but also just confident that kind of reassuring that it's like, okay, we've got quality in that team, that there is guys there who, within the right system, will make sure that Hearts are going to be motoring up the table, and that yes, there are still issues. I think there's a few issues to sort out, but there's plenty of there's plenty to work with within there. A couple of guys mention it. Ewan Wright says we need wingers. I think that's an issue at the moment, and the right back situation. Sidney Devine says, why do not Fox put Boateng at right back? Forrester looked like he was shooting at 3 misplays, and I think
he also just. I know that Grant got sent off for bringing Duke down, and that kind of put us under more pressure because at that point we went 4-3-2 rather than 4-4-1, and Forrester just then couldn't handle the pace of Duke, and he got booked quite soon after Grant was sent off. Is that right? And then
I think he did,
for the goal, he can't even tactical foul him without, but he's in the box before he kind of knows anything about it. But yes, a tough game for a youngster to be thrown into, and it will have been a steep learning curve for him. Yeah, he definitely. It was definitely the worst of his 3 performances so far. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I do. I've got loads of sympathy for him. That
definitely. I hope it came across that I'm trying not to be too critical.
Absolutely. It was just. It's kind of the Tuesday afternoon quarterback, but
10 men against a team that's won 12 on the trot. You know what I mean? And your 19-year-old right back. As much as he's kind of looked competent against Ross County and not out of place in the European game and stuff. I mean, if we were just under the cosh for pretty much the entire time he's on the pitch as well. It's not an easy situation to be thrown into. Yeah, I guess a guy who's trying to make a statement after like not turning up for training and all that kind of stuff. And one of the best attackers in the league, bar none, just like 2 years ago or something like that. Yeah. So
I think there were positives to take, and there were Sunday still showed there's a lot of room for improvement. There's issues to be sorted, but I think there's. We've seen enough not to be all kind of doom and gloom. So, which leads me on to just before we finish is, after these last 3 games, going into the international break, do you feel more confident? Do you feel that just say a new manager comes in the next 7 days, 10 days, do you feel that Hearts are in a better place now for someone coming in?
I don't think I am more confident. No, I think I've got less confident because, as I said earlier on, I'm still at the stage. I still think there were times when we were absolutely awful on this run. Don't get me wrong. There's been times when we've been awful, but I have still seen things where I think, well, maybe if Naismith had managed to get things to click, there's the talent there to do it, or more laterally, a new manager could probably come in and fix things. But I don't know, there's only so many games you can come away from thinking that before you think, well, no, because I mean, how many different ways do we have to play in a game before we actually win one? I mean, I would like to think that what we've seen recently under Liam Fox, whether it's him or whether it's a new manager, we'd probably have enough to beat St Mirren at home because they're having a tough time at the moment. I think they've won 2 games this season. One of them was against us. So, but if we're sitting here the Sunday or the Monday after that game, and we've not won that game, or worse still, we've lost that game, and where does that leave us? I mean, how? Then we're probably at the stage where it's like, well, maybe we just need the 5 wins to keep us in the league now and look ahead to next season. Because where is it going to come from if we're not going to get it at home to an out of form St Mirren, given the way we are playing as well? Because we could have. I mean, I know some people can't be bothered with XG and stuff, but XG's been combined around 5 or something for the last 2 league matches. It's not far off, is it? So we are creating good quality chances now in the league. We just need to do what we did in Minsk, if that's what it takes. Play garbage, but still somehow shitfest it and win a game. Win a game of football, please.
You certainly shat all over my positivity. Would you take relegation and Conference League success? I mean, that's the most obvious answer ever.
Are you talking about winning the Conference League? Because short of winning the Conference League, I don't think. I don't think I would. Well, it's just so we can say we got to the quarterfinals one time. No, I don't think we need another relegation. I think we need to stop being a team that has relegation. There's absolutely no reason why we should get relegated as often as we do. Yeah. So no, I would not take another relegation for a few extra games in Europe after the year. Sorry.
No, I was specifically saying winning the Conference League. If
it's winning it, then you might have my attention.
Right, before we finish up, or kind of in my view, I completely get what you mean. I'm falling in the trap where having seen Sunday's performance, and I'm thinking, everything will be all right. And I know we've been there before, and it wasn't all right. And I'm thinking, Aberdeen, the gap to Aberdeen probably insurmountable, but the fourth place and a good showing in the Conference League would be a success now. But again, I need to check myself. We still not won a game in the league, and I'm just maybe getting, as always, getting carried away. So I'm feeling more confident, but quite rightly, you've made me take a step back and get myself in check.
I was a happy clapper until recently as well. But like I said to you just after the game on Sunday, Ross County, there's never much between somewhere between 4th, 5th down to sometimes 10th and 11th. There's never much between the teams. And Ross County showed a couple of seasons ago that this is not what I want or anything. I'm just trying to show that top 6 and stuff is still very much achievable, because they had a stinking season. I think it was 2 seasons ago. Was it 2 or 3 seasons ago? When they had Reagan Charles Cook and stuff. They had a stinking season, and then they had a good run of form before the split. I don't know if it was like 6, 7, 8 game run or something like that, and it got them into the top 6. So because there is a sort of much of a muchness in the middle part of the league, yes, 3rd, potentially 4th, things like that are looking increasingly out of our grasp. But I think top 6 is still comfortably achievable.
Right, before we finish up, you spoke to Ross Matthews. I think it was last week for a piece on his testimonial coming up. Hearts play Raith Rovers at Starks Park tomorrow night. Give us a wee bit about Ross and the game in general for people that might be unaware.
He's like a really nice guy. I mean, I know him from covering Raith for a bit before I came on to this job. I actually didn't see him play in the flesh all too often. He had injury problems, which predated me covering Raith, but covered pretty much the entire. I think he made a short comeback the first season that I covered, and then the second one, he came back just as I just before kind of taking off that beat, or moved to a different one. And made it sound like I was being punished for doing something wrong there. And yeah, I remember speaking to him after one game, and can't remember how it came up. It must have been when I must have interviewed him around the time that the testimonial was announced. That's what it was. And I was asking him about the opponents, and he said Hearts, and that's when he mentioned that he was a Hearts fan. So I let him know that I was as well. So I contacted him when I saw that it was coming up soon. I think it was a good idea to give it a wee bit of promotion, and because he's quite an interesting guy to speak to. Even then, I got stuff that I wasn't expecting when he was talking about. He was like, been going to games since he was 2 years old. His dad was taking him. He sent some nice pictures of him as a toddler in his Heart scarf, and he said that there's like videos of him singing the Heart song when he was a similar age and things like that. And yeah, he came up through, was eventually picked up by Hearts as a young player, was in the youth system for about 5 or 6 years before being released, and he's been at Wraith Rovers since. And Louis Vaughan celebrated his testimonial last season. Ross Matthews is celebrating his this season. They were both delayed because of COVID, and then when the new Wraith owners came in, not the summer past, but the summer before, they were doing lots of stadium renovations and things like that. So I think Lewis Vaughan's was initially supposed to be in that close season, but it got delayed until later in the season, so it had a knock-on effect to Ross Matthews. So he's actually now in his 12th season, or his 12th year at Wraith. Yeah, and he's had quite a good time there as well. They won League One. I mean, I know you have to go down to, for a club like Wraith, you have to go down to League One to win it, much like Falkirk and Wraith in recent years. But yeah, he won that with them. Part of teams that have dominated the Challenge Cup for years. Wraith, I don't know if people are aware, but Wraith had an imperious record in the Challenge Cup for years. They won it. Oh, I'm going to be challenged with the years here, but I think it was 2019 or 2020 they won it. 2019 they won it, and then they were joint winners with the cancelled one in 2020 with Inverness.
Yep.
Won the next one and then got to the final the one after that.
I think it was 21 in 2022 and then got to the final against Hamilton in 2023.
Yeah, and then the semi-final the year after that. So yeah, they had like a cracking record in that for a while. And he also he lifted the one that they won in 2019. He was captain on the day. And also got to return to Tynecastle in that season where Hearts totally dominated the league. Wraith were one of the teams to beat Hearts that season. He played in the game at... Is that the same season? Yeah? Aye.
Yeah.
Played in the game at Tynecastle, where they beat Hearts. Although he said that was like dampened slightly because it was during COVID, which I know that a lot of teams and a lot of players' experiences and accolades were sort of dampened with there being no fans around that time. But aye. So yeah, that's a quick overview of Ross Matthews. So get along to support him if you can. A nice diehard Jambo that went on to find a full-time career elsewhere.
Yeah, so that game takes place at Starks Park on Wednesday night. Kickoff is at 7:45. Tickets are $15 for adults, $5 for under 16s. And who knows, might get to see maybe Musa or Andrew Salazar and some more fringe players or young players.
I was wondering if Liam Fox was going to get his boots on, because I'm sure he can still... I'm sure, I don't know, it might not get the best reception from the Wraith fans. That'd be interesting to keep an eye on. But yeah, I think there would have been crossover with Fox and Matthews at Wraith.
Yeah, definitely. There would have been 100%.
So maybe even the interim manager might have his boots on at some point as well. Who knows for which team?
Yeah, there we go. Fox has played twice in friendlies before for Hearts. Once when he was a teenager, once when he came back to the club as a coach. So yeah, who knows? And against Wraith Rovers as well. But that is us. We'll be back potentially later in the week discussing something regarding Hearts. But until then, be sure to check out heartstandard.co.uk, where you can find out, get the latest news from Hearts, analysis, etc., etc. Hopefully have a few exclusive interviews on the site in the coming days. And you can subscribe for as little as, I think it's £12 for £18 for 12 months and £4 for 4 months, I think it is. And also subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. That would be lovely. But until then, thank you very much, everyone, and goodbye.